पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणिका प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पदचादिशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Jai Radha Shama Sundara Radha Shama Sundara Jai Radha Shama Sundara Radha Shama Sundara Jai Krishna Balaram 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 Jai Jagannatha Jai Baladeva Jai Subhadra Jai Jagannatha Jai Baladeva Jai Subhadra Jai Gauranita Jai Gauranita Jai Gauranita Jai Gauranita Jai Gauraniva Lariva Hariva Nita Gaurariva Nita Gauraniva Lariva Hariva Nita Gaurariva Jai Sachinandana Jai Sachinandana Jai Sachinandana Gaura Hare Jai Sachinandana Jai Sachinandana Jai Sachinandana Gaura Hare Gaura 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 Hare Gaura 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 Hare Nitai Gaura Haribo 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo Nitai Gaurango Nitai Gaurango Nitai Gaurango Jaya Gaura Hari Nitai Gaurango Nitai Gaurango Nitai Gaurango Jaya Gaura Hari Gaura 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 Hari Gaura 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 Hari Nitai Gaura Haribo 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo Nitai Gaura Haribo 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राज काचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतश्री श्रीमद श्रील भक्ति सिद्धांत भक्ति वेदांत संस्कृतपाद की जय। एवं विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राज काचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतश्री श्रीमद श्रील भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत गौड़ी वैष्णव की जय। श्री रूप गोस्वामी तिरुभाव महामहोत्सव की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय। नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय। श्री क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। गंगामयी यमुनामाई की जय। भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय। समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय। हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories, all glories, all glories, all glories. Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Prabhupada की जय। ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नामने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे विशेष शून्यवाद पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे नमस्ते नरसिंहाय नमस्ते नरसिंहाय
गिरिवरदा
तीरा वनचारी राधा माधवा पूजा बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदना व्रज जनरंजना यमुना तीरा वनचारी राधा माधवा पूजा बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे हरि ओम तत्सत reading from Bhagavad Gita chapter 1 titled observing the armies on the battlefield observing the armies verse number 20 Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayit Nasta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining. We're reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 1, verse number 20. Ata vyavastitam društva dartarashtan kapidvajaha pravrutte sastra sampate dhanurvudyamya pandavaha ऋषिकेशं तदा वाक्यम् इदम् आहा महीपते अतः व्यवस्थितान् दृष्ट्वा दार्तराष्ट्रान् कपिध्वजः प्रवृत्ते शास्त्रसम्पाते धनुर्विद्यम्य पाण्डवा अतः व्यवस्थितान् दृष्ट्वा दार्तराष्ट्रान् कपिध्वजः प्रवृत्ते शस्त्रसम्पाते धनुर्विद्यम्य पाण्डवः ऋषिकेशं तथा वाक्यम् इदम् आहा महीपते Chapter 1 verse 20 अतः व्यवस्थितान् दृष्ट्वा दार्तराष्ट्रान् कपिध्वजः प्रवृत्ते शस्त्रसम्पाते धनुर्विद्यम्य पाण्डवः ऋषिकेशं तदा वाक्यम् इदम् आहा महीपते Word to word translation Ata thereupon Vyavasthitan situated Društva, looking upon Dhartarashtam, the sons of Dhritarashtra, Kapidvajaha, he whose flag was marked with Hanuman, Pravrutte, while about to engage Shastra Sampate, in releasing his arrows, Dhanuhu, bow, Mudyamya, taking up Pandavaha, the son of Pandu, Arjuna, Rishikesham, unto Lord Krishna, Tada, at that time, Vakyam, words, Idam, these, Aha, said, Mahipate, O king. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Shubhopad ki Jai. At that time, Arjuna, the son of Pandu, seated in the chariot, bearing the flag marked with Hanuman, took up his bow and prepared to shoot his arrows. O king, after looking at the sons of Dhritarashtra drawn in military array, Arjuna then spoke to Lord Krishna these words. Please repeat. At that time, Arjuna, the son of Pandu, seated in the chariot, bearing the flag marked with Hanuman, took up his bow and prepared to shoot his arrows. O king, after looking at the sons of Dhritarashtra drawn in military array, Arjuna then spoke to Lord Krishna these words. Verse number 21-22. Arjuna vacha Senayorubayormadhye radam stapayame achyuta. Yavat etan nirikshe aham yoddhukamanavasthitan kairmaya sa yoddhavyam asmin rana samudhyame. Verse number 21-22. Arjuna vacha Senayorubayormadhye radam stapayame achyuta yavat etan nirikshe aham yoddhukamanavasthitan kairmaya saha yoddhavyam asmin rana samudhyame. Arjuna vacha Senayorubayormadhye radam stapayame achyuta yavat nirikshe aham yoddhukamanavasthitan kairmaya saha yoddhavyam asmin rana samudhyame. Word to word translation. Arjuna vacha, Arjuna said, Senayo, of the armies, Ubayo, both, Madhye, between, Ratham, the chariot, Stapaya, please keep. 1 minute, hold on, I have to mute, I think. I'm muted, okay. Nirikshe, may look upon, Aham, I, Yodhu Kaman, desiring to fight, Avasthitan, arrayed on the battlefield, Kaihi, with whom, Maya, by me, Saha, together, Yodhavyam, have to fight, Asmin, in this, Rana, strife, Samudhyame, in the attempt. Translation. Arjuna said, O infallible one, please draw my chariot between the two armies, so that I may see those present here, who desire to fight, and with whom I must contend in this great trial of arms. Repeat. Arjuna said, O infallible one, please draw my chariot between the two armies, so that I may see those present here who desire to fight, and with whom I must contend in this great trial of arms. Verse number 23. Yotsyamanan avekshe aham ya ete atra samagataha Dhartarashtrasya durbuddher yuddhe prichikirshavaha. Yotsyamanan avekshe aham ya ete atra samagataha Dhartarashtrasya durbuddher yuddhe prichikirshavaha. Yotsyamanan avekshe aham ya ete atra samagataha Dhartarashtrasya durbuddher yuddhe prichikirshavaha. Yotsamanan, those who will be fighting, Avekshe, let me see, aham, I, who, ete, those, atra, here, samagata, assembled, Dhartarashtrasya, for the son of Dhritarashtra, Durbuddhe, evil-minded, Yuddhe, in the fight, Priya, well, Chikirshavaha, wishing. Translation. Let me see those who have come here to fight, wishing to please the evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra. Let me see those who have come here to fight, wishing to please the evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra. Verse number 24. Stop here, try to understand. संजय उवाच एवं उक्तो ऋषिकेशो गुडाकेशेन भारत सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये स्थापयित्वा रथोत्तमम्. संजय उवाच एवं उक्तो ऋषिकेशो गुडाकेशेन भारत सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये स्थापयित्वा रथोत्तमम्. संजय उवाच एवं उक्तो ऋषिकेशो गुडाकेशेन भारत सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये स्थापयित्वा रथोत्तमम्. Sanjay Uvacha, Sanjay said, Evam thus, Mukta addressed Rishikesha, Lord Krishna, Gudakesena by Arjuna, Bharata, O descendant of Bharata, Senayo of the armies, Ubayo both, Madhye in the midst, Stapayitva placing, Radha Uttamam, the finest chariot. Translation. Sanjay said, O descendant of Bharata, having thus been addressed by Arjuna, Lord Krishna drew up the fine chariot in the midst of the armies of both parties. Sanjay said, O descendant of Bharata, having thus been addressed by Arjuna, Lord Krishna drew up the fine chariot in the midst of the armies of both parties. Try to understand. Right. So here we are discussing from verse number 20 to 24. So Om Ajnanatimrandasya Gnananjanasalakaya Chakshurunmiritam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaः. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangham Langete Grim Yatkrupatamaham Vande Sri Gurum Denatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Iswaram. Hari Om Tat Sat. Today is also Sri Rupa Goswami disappearance day, Tirubhav Tithi, very important, prominent day, because he is one of the main acharyas in our line, Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. So after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu directly instructed them, they are the directly serving the Radha and Krishna. So direct associates of Srimati Radharani serving Srimati Radharani, Rupa Manjari. So Rupa Goswami. So today is his disappearance day. So important. We'll try to discuss something about him. So here, especially it is mentioned from verse number 20, there are a couple of words, 4 of them are important. Atra vyavasthitan društva dhartarashtan kapidvajaha. First kapidvajaha. Flag, kapi means monkey. Dvaja means flag. Having a monkey flag, which is Hanuman, flag of Hanuman, on the chariot where Arjuna and Krishna are seated on the battlefield. That is the first. Pravrutte is another word, important. Sastra, third. Dhanur Udyamya Pandava, Rishikesham, fourth. Tada Vakyam Idam Aha Mahipate. These 4 words are important. So, last section we talked about how it is establishing the foundation for the victory, not in the material sense, but in the spiritual sense. Those who are taking shelter from the beginning of whatever activity they do, they're taking shelter. So that is the foundation of the victory. So that's why we see that the hearts of the opposite party is shattered by Hridayani Vidharayat, by the blowing of the conch shells on the Kaurava side. So there is no credit. So now further it is continued. From this verse we can understand, from these verses we understand how to by strengthening or taking shelter of the Supreme Lord, and by engaging, transforming material activities into spiritual activities. So how we can really attain success, so spiritual success and material success, and be happy and blissful. So in this verse we can see that Kapidvajaha, first we will understand Pravrutte. So they are ready to engage. Even though here Arjuna is ready to engage, he is asking Krishna to bring the chariot in the next verse between the armies, in between, so that he can see. So they're ready to engage. That's what Pravrutte means. But from the Acharyas we understand Pravrutti and nivrutti. Pravrutti means to engage in activities. It is mentioned pravrutti esha sambhutam bhutanam nivrutter mahaphala. So pravrutti means engaging in the material activities. Engage in activities which is with the consist of these three operating on the three modes of material nature, and then which will derive the six unwanted Arishad Vargas, which leads to Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Mada, Matsarya, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. The six things. So that is the pravrutti. So, but the same pravrutti, the pravrutti means inclination or proclivities. So living entity, every living entity has proclivities bringing up from the past lives, many lifetimes. So how to use that, utilize in Krishna service. Here Arjuna is also engaging, but how he is making it pravrutti into nivrutti. Nivrutti means one who is which is like akarma, means he is engaging in activities, but at the same time it is there is no bondage, there is no karmic reactions for those activities, because he is engaging in the activity in serving the Supreme Lord, to please the Supreme Lord, not for his own sense pleasure, not for his own benefit, but he is trying to engage in this by taking shelter and surrendering to, taking guidance and taking shelter and surrendering to Krishna. So here that's why we see that also Ruchikesha. So that is the first verse. So what this verse is telling is how to dovetail our activities, whatever activities we have in our life, how to utilize everything in, how to see everything in relation with Krishna, and how to transfer that attachment to Krishna, whatever attachment we have, how to gradually, slowly increase that attachment to Krishna. Think everything belongs to Krishna, our job, our money, everything in that sense. Before we make the decision, we ask Krishna's guidance. Krishna, pray to Krishna, ask for his guidance, ask the intelligence. So obviously he will give, because he is always guiding. But those who are ready to engage, ye atamam prapadyamste tam stataiva bhajamyam mama vartamanu vartante parda sarvada. To the degree we are really looking for his guidance, want him to guide on the right path, then Krishna is guiding. But for those who are ready to make their own decisions, they are not asking Krishna's guidance. Then Super Soul is guiding, okay, you do whatever you like. So accordingly is, so to our, so how we use our free will, accordingly is guiding. If you really want Krishna, then he is guide. So here also we can see Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana and party, and then Pandavas. They are always seeking guidance of Krishna. They don't care whether they have so much army or they have money, or they didn't care. They are always, they want Krishna to be there. Kunti Maharani's prayers also we see that again and again, give me the problems so that we can see you, we can you are always with us. So that is that way we can always remember you. So that is the most blissful. Life will be most blissful in that way. So even if difficulties, it doesn't matter. So you can understand. So that always is seeing everything in relation with Krishna. So that is the difference of here. Pravrutte. Then next, in connection with that, Shastra Sampate. Shastra is used here. Shastra means because you Kshatriya, they are ready to engage with the weapons. Obviously, here Arjuna is a what is that? Archer. So that's why he has arrows. It is mentioned here. Shastra Sampate means arrows. But if you look at Shastra means Shas Dhatu. It is coming from the Shas Dhatu. It has many meanings. Shas Dhatu means first Shasana. Shasana is used. The rules and regulations, the government, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, when the material world is created, there are certain rules and regulations for human being to follow. If they don't follow, then they will be implicated. Demigods are watching, and ultimately Super Soul is watching what we are doing. We cannot hide from the Supreme Lord. Karmana Daiva Netrena. So we cannot avoid. We can cheat the government here in this material world. We can hide, but we cannot cheat the Supreme Lord. He knows in and out what we are doing. So that's why it is mentioned Shastra. Shastra means Shasana. Shasana is rules and regulations. Especially as a Kshatriya, as a king, they are implementing, they are giving the rules. What to do, what not to do, as depending on which ashrama, whether you are engineer or doctor, intelligent class, administrative class, or agricultural class, or the servant class. In this way, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra. In this way, and then depending on the ashram also, Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyas. So the kings used to do that, make sure they are executing exactly what they are supposed to do. They are not executing somebody else's duty. So that is the sasana, and then from there also it is coming up sasana and shastra. Shastra means weapon, as we are discussing here. So when somebody is not following the rules and regulation, what will they be punished with? Shastra. Shastra, with weapons, with where they will be put by the police force, will come and catch and put them in jail or give fine, depending on how much severe we are, what kind of activity we are doing. Accordingly, the degree of punishment will be there. So that is this is all connected. That is shastra, then sasana, shastra. It is connected. Shastra, then shastra is again, these are all king. The sasana, when he is ruling, is guided by the shastra. Shastra means the scriptures, the Vedic knowledge, the four Vedas, Upanishads, Puranas, Samhitas, Dharma Shastra, Manu Samhita. This way. Mainly the Vedic knowledge is giving the directions. This is again quoted by the Vaishnavas and Brahmanas. They are guiding the kings. Nowadays it's all chaos because nobody is being guided by the intelligent class. So that's why there is a chaos. So the Shastra and Sasana and Shastra and Shastra and Sasana, in that way. Then another word coming also from this is Shishya. Shishya means disciple, one who is following the sasana, the rules and regulations given by the bona fide spiritual master and shastra, and following and surrendering to a spiritual master and following his guidance. Under his guidance, he is executing the activities. So then is called Shishya. So all these are coming in this. So that's why this pravrutti and shastra, both, even though it is here in material sense, they are just talking about how to engage in the warfare. He is ready to shoot the arrows. But if you look at in the deep sense, Arjuna is ready to utilize, follow the rules. What is the rule? The rule is to follow the direction of the Shastra, direction of the Supreme Lord. Because who is giving the rules and regulations? Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. Dharma is coming from the Supreme. Dharmantu Sakshat Bhagavat Pranitam. Where did Vedas come from? Karma Brahmodhvam with Brahmakshara Samudbhavam. So it came from the mouth of the Supreme Lord. That's why he is called Apavurusheya. We might be called Purusha, but in Shastra sense it is, we are not even called Purusha. We are Prakriti. We are being enjoyed by the Purusha is only Supreme Lord. We are not actually, in the real sense, we are not called Purusha. Even Prakriti, material nature, is also not Purusha. So, but either if we still take that Apavurusheya, so it is not coming from the mortal being, from the human being. It is coming from the Supreme Lord's mouth, who is completely transcendental, spiritual. Nothing material about his anything about his body, mind, intelligence, everything is spiritual. So there is nothing. So that's why these Vedas, Upanishads, all these are coming. Only written down by Vyasadeva. Every Kali Yuga, before Kali Yuga starts, it is written down in the end of Dwapara Yuga almost by Vyasadeva. Personality also changes every lifetime of Brahma or in every day of Brahma. So this Shakti-Avesh avatar, Vyasadeva also changes personality. So he is empowered. Somebody will be empowered to write literary incarnation of the Godhead. That's what he meant. So in this way we understand this pravrutte shastra sampade means somehow or other we transfer our activities, material activities, and that means when we go to job we try to use money, to some portion of the money offer to Krishna bhoga at home, and also whenever this Balram Jayanti, Janmashtami is coming up, we offer something bhoga to the Supreme Lord. We buy some articles, gifts for the Supreme Lord. We dress the deities. We offer various things. So we may donate. We may serve Vaishnavas. So many ways we can utilize our car, our money, our resources, our inclinations or qualities. So because everybody is expert in different things, somebody may be serving, somebody may be garlands, somebody may be cooking. So everybody is in different qualities, different interests. So they all can engage their interest in the connection with Supreme Lord. Arjuna is archer. As a Kshatriya, he cannot do fourth class, he cannot do third class, he cannot be in Brahmana also. So that's why I asked, okay, at least give 5 villages, 5 small villages. We don't need you can take the whole rest of the whole kingdom, you can take. But Duryodhana was so much adamant, Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana adamant, they didn't want it to give, not even a place where needle will fit. So such a full of false ego. So he didn't care about any living being. If he didn't care about them, then how will he care about other living entity? So that's why it is very important to understand. So this pravrutti means using inclinations to transfer, even if you have angriness, even if you have some desire, still by serving the Supreme Lord, that angriness will subside. Our greed will automatically will be greedy, increase our greed for Krishna, and our material greed will go away. We'll rather use, even if you get millions of dollars, still we will use it in Krishna service. In that way, we transfer all those, this kama, krodha, lobha, mada, moha, matsara, everything will be transformed and it's spiritualized. False ego will become real ego. So all these desires, kama will become prema. So that is what the definition is also. Atmendriya trupti vanchitaranam kam. When we are using our senses for our own enjoyment, our own pleasure, that is called desire for our own enjoyment. But when it is used for Krishna service, it is called Krishnendriya trupti vanchitaranam prem. That is the real love, means pleasing the Supreme Lord and his devotees and every living entity in connection with Krishna, not independent of Krishna. Then that is a blissful and happy life. Then there will not be any quarrel, any hypocrisy, any fighting between any living entity. Because if everybody sees that, as Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Kavit, looking at even the lowest dog eater or anybody, everybody as a servant of Krishna, part and parcel of him. Where is the question of fighting? Everywhere there will be a peace. So that's why Prabhupada was mentioning in the beginning itself. You have established United Nations, but it is not really solving the purpose. You are not following the purpose of from the Vedic knowledge, transcendental knowledge. And to get peace, then you have to understand who is the real enjoyer. Whose property is this? Your nations, your countries, everywhere, this whole land, who is giving this? Whose property it is? So that's why Prabhupada is very much, he wants to use everything. He is not against the money, he is not against the technology, he is not against anything. Because everything belongs to Krishna, yes, you can use it everywhere. Actually, in olden days, it's much more technology is there. The technology what we have is only material, the bodily level, gross. But the technology what they use in the battlefield, the technology what they use even on the demigod level, more subtle, not gross level. They use subtle level. So that's why but we are proud of our knowledge, what we have on the gross level. So we have to bring it to the next level, subtle level, and then ultimately it has to come to higher than that, even spiritual, using everything in relation with Krishna. So that's what here it means. Pravrutte Shastra Sampade means that's what we have to understand. Transform our proclivities into Krishna's, transfer attachment to Krishna. Then Dhanurbuddhyamya Pandava Rishikesham Tada Vakyam Kapidvaja. We will come to Rishikesha. Kapidvaja here it is mentioned because Hanuman is also supporting Krishna. Krishna is personally there. Obviously Krishna and Vishnu and his wife consort. Wherever Krishna or Vishnu is there, his consort is always there. Now not only that, and then great devotee Hanuman is also. So that's why when at the end of the last day of Kurukshetra war, then Krishna told Arjuna, you get down from the chariot. Arjuna couldn't understand why. Then after he came down, then he moved a bit, then immediately the whole chariot burned down. Then Krishna explained, why is it so? Because the whole chariot was, why it is, even though everybody, the Karnat, so many warriors were fighting, so much arrows, so much everything coming to that chariot, but whose power it is holding? First of all, Krishna, and the Agnidev has given the chariot, and then Hanuman is there. These three, because of that, that chariot was holding. Nothing could happen. So even he praised Krishna. Krishna is praising Karna also sometimes. Both ways, he is instigating Arjuna to fight more, and also Karna is more powerful than Arjuna in one sense. But even with his power, even Krishna is there. This is Agni's chariot, and Hanuman is there, but still he is able to shake the chariot of Arjuna. So that is the power of Karna. He has so much power, but still doesn't matter. We have so much power and strength or whatever. But if Krishna is not willing, so then it is not going to help us. You cannot win. So then it is still going to be pravrutti, and still it is going to cause binding. Still we have to face reactions, not only this life and next life also. So that's why when it is connected with Krishna, then automatically it purifies. Even if you have desires, then automatically that our desire, first of all, we will get the benefit of that desire, whatever desire that will be fulfilled, and also it purifies. Next time we will not be desiring those things, material things. So that is the benefit of. So here Kapitvaja, the Hanuman. Why Hanuman has come? Because there are two incidents. Shastra is giving. One incident is when because Bhima is the son of Vayu, so he went to fight. He somehow he is traveling because he was I think exile time or before that. They are all in forest anyway. So he is a hungry man. Bhima cannot stay without eating. He not little food. So then he went on walking in the forest. Then he was in some garden somewhere, banana garden or somewhere. And then there is a monkey lying down while he was trampling, going on, trying to get a food or something. Then he saw a monkey lying, big monkey with a big tail, and he's not moving the tail. And then that old monkey told, "Okay, I am too old, I cannot move. Can you move my tail, and then you can walk?" And then Bhima told, "Okay." Then he tried to lift that monkey's tail, but he couldn't lift. Bhima is such a powerful person. So he can fight against so many people without any weapons. Then finally it came to the point that then that was none other than Hanuman. So obviously they are all related. Son of Vayu is Bhima. So Hanuman. So then Hanuman okay told then next coming up war on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, then I will assist you. Then he told, I will assist your brother Arjuna. This is one incident in that. He couldn't lift, then he could understand this is not an ordinary person. If I am not able to lift this ordinary monkey's tail, then Hanuman told him who he is, and then in that way he gave that benediction. So that's how Hanuman came. And then another incident is when Arjuna also, while going, I think, meeting, he went to demigod's planet. Obviously, they are all demigods also in one sense, because before Krishna appeared, they all prayed, and Lord told Brahma, all the demigod has to appear. When I appear, as a son of Devaki and Vasudeva, you all appear in different places as a sons of different families in the Edu dynasty and other dynasties, Bhoja, Vrishni, Andaka, so many dynasties were there. And so then in that way, so Arjuna was walking and then going some, I think, while going to demigod planet before meeting Lord Shiva, Pasupatastra, where Lord Shiva has given, Lord Shiva was pleased with them. Then in the same, while going there, then Arjuna meets also Hanuman in a different way, in ordinary form. Hanuman didn't show his form. So then there was an argument, and then they said, "Oh, my Lord Ramachandra is greater," or something like some argument came upon. Then he said, "Oh, that is just a ordinary lake, so ordinary river. So you are able to go on stone. So I can." What do you call? I can build with my arrows. I can build with arrows. You can walk. That's not a tough thing. It's not a great thing what you have done. Then Arjuna builds with arrows. He builds a great bridge where there is a lake. Arjuna met this personality, Hanuman. So because of that argument, then if you break that, if you cannot we can go from this end to that end on the this arrows. If you break the if that bridge breaks, then I will enter into the fire. This is what Arjuna took a vow, that showing up his power. Then he said, okay, all right. Then Hanuman went in. As soon as he put his first step, then it sank in, it broke everything. Then Arjuna was ready to jump in. Then Sannyasi walked in, or personality walked in, Krishna in this form walked in, and then he said, no, 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 when nobody was there, you do it again. Then again he released, this time he hold it underneath as a tortoise or something. He hold that whole bridge. Hanuman could go in, but he couldn't break. That whole bridge stayed in. So then finally, then he showed his form and he told, I am Krishna. Then he told, both of them, Hanuman, both are great personalities. So don't do this, don't argue with each other. Both are great powers, you have great strength. So engage in that way. Then they both, then Hanuman told, okay, I am going to help you. I will be your Kapidvaja, I will be a flag, victory flag. Whenever there is a shouting, and then I am going to shout, increase that shouting, war cries. So in that way, so there are so many different ways. Kapidvaja, Hanuman is helping. So in this way, all positive credits, victory, strength of victory, helping is there. Help is there. Great help is there for Arjuna because he is a devotee. So that's why Rushikesha. Rushikesha means Isha means controller. Rushika means senses. Controller of the senses. Supreme Lord Sri Krishna is the controller of the senses. He is the master of the senses. But only for, he is not acting as Rishikesha for Duryodhana and Dhritarashtra and family. He is only acting as Rishikesha, is helping Arjuna, is controlling to the senses to the right way, and is giving that all the power. He is guiding to the in right direction. How to be rightly situated and how to gain victory. What to do in each and every circumstance. So that way here, as it is mentioned, that's why it is mentioned here, Rushikesha sada vakyam idam aha mahipate. So he is the control, so he is controlling the senses of Arjuna. So that's why, because Lord may, so Arjuna as a devotee, generally Lord as a supreme controller, his super soul is there in each and every living entity. But he is always wants to be controlled by the devotees. As you can see, Yashoda Mai, you can see in so many cases, always Lord is ready to be controlled by the devotees. So in this way, so Krishna is here helping and controlling the senses of Arjuna. So is making, giving that assurance and giving the abhayam to Arjuna. So that's what in this verse we understand, that all the victory, that's what Prabhupada is explaining in the purport also, that as a Krishna being there is giving the confidence to Arjuna how to win this war. Next verse. That's what these next 3-4 verses are always all talking about, how to be taking shelter of Krishna, whether it's Rishikesha or whether it's Achyuta. Again and again is used, and how to remove our ignorance, how to remove ignorance and sleep, control our senses by surrendering and taking shelter of the Supreme Lord. So Arjuna became Gudakesha. You will see in the next. So in 21 and 22 it is mentioned Achyuta. Arjuna was Senayor Ubayor Madhye Radhayam Stavayame Achyuta Yavan Etan Niriksheham Yodhu Kaman Avastitan Kairmaya Sa Yodhavyam Asmin Rana Samudyame. Achyuta means infallible. So the Lord is, we are all living entities are fallible, because so it is like a fire. So when fire is there, big fire, from fire, as long as the fire particles are with the fire, then it will have that power of that flame, power to burn. But as soon as it separates out from the fire, main fire is Krishna. And then when the living entity is separating out from the Supreme Personality, Krishna is the whole, we are the parts. And then what will happen? So then the fire can fall in 3 different ways. So fire can fall on the water, fire can fall on the ground, fire can fall on the dry grass. When it is dry grass, it is mode of goodness, it can burn some more time. And if it falls on the ground, it extinguishes. Water means completely dead immediately. So in this way, so the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. So the living entity is has a marginal potency, so he can fall down from. So that's why we are in this material world. We fall down from our original Satchit Ananda Vigraha, our original spiritual position. We have taken up this material body to enjoy separately from the Lord, Icha and Dvesha. So that's why here Achyuta is used, because Achyuta, Lord is never fallible. Lord is infallible, because even though whatever position he may take, Krishna is taking here chariot driver, the lowest position. Chariot driver means lowest position. But Arjuna, that's why he is using, rather than Stapami Achyuta, he is telling, please bring my chariot. He cannot, Lord cannot be ordered. That's why Arjuna cautiously is using that word, because he is calling the Lord with Achyuta, because oh my supreme Lord, oh my Lord and Master, please bring my chariot. Don't mind that I am asking, I am ordering you to bring as a chariot driver, but please don't mind, because your position is always great. Your position, whether you are even in that Rajasuya Yajna also, he was taking the shoes and he was inviting all the guests. Lowest thing, if you look at the thing externally, but Lord didn't care. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also in Gaur Leela also, we see that he is always garlanding, he was meeting, he was serving Vaishnavas always. Lord always wants to be controlled by devotees. But only for devotees. For those who are not want to serve him, then even though they may have wealth, they have so much power and strength and everything, but he will not accept a single thing. So that we have seen. Duryodhana, what he has done, he tried to, when Krishna has come, he tried to bind Krishna. So Krishna went to make a peace meal, but Duryodhana couldn't understand. Despite Krishna showing his Virat Rupa half, not fully. Fully was shown in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Arjuna could see, Sanjaya could see. But Duryodhana couldn't even understand the position of the Supreme Lord. So this is the Asuric mentality. This is the Dushkruti. Means one who doesn't have a pious credits. Kruti means activities. Sukruti means one who has a pious credit. Dushkruti means one who doesn't have, all his pious credits are lost. Then you cannot act in any religious way. All your intelligence will be lost when you are full of dushkruti. Sometimes that's why in the life we see is you might be some living entities will have a tough time because of the past karma. Then they may have to struggle really hard. Even though whatever so much work they do, they may not get many things, because how they use their free will in the past life, then they will have to suffer in this life. So that's why the free will is there, and that must be utilized carefully as per the scripture injunctions. If you don't utilize it, and then we'll have to suffer the consequences in this life, and we are also making the future very volatile. So it's going to be very difficult for us. So that's why it is very, very important to follow here Achyuta. We should be controlled by Achyuta, the infallible Lord, so that we can also become Chuta, from fallible to infallible in a smaller sense. In a qualitatively we are equal, but quantity wise we are anu, we are always small, but still we can become fully spiritualized. Instead of Chuta, we can become Achyuta, infallible. So that's why when you surrender, then our Gotra will become. Otherwise, we have Kashyap Gotra or Vasishtha Gotra or Bharadwaj Gotra, or so many Gotras we have, our family lineage. But once we surrender, we become Achyuta Gotra, because all our indebtedness to all the demigods, our forefathers, our rishis and other living entities, demigods, we will not be indebted to anyone, because by simply surrendering and by simply serving the Supreme Lord, Yatha Taror Mola Nishechanena Skanda Bhujopasaka Sarvahanam Achyuteja. By worshipping the Achyuta, infallible Lord, then it is directly pouring the water on the root of the tree. Yatha Taror Mola Nishechanena. The root of the tree, by pouring the water, then automatically all the branches and everything will be nourished. Skanda Bhujopasaka. Pranopaharat yatendriyanam. Like that, all the senses of our body will get enlivened. So, in the third chapter, Prabhupada quotes the Upanishads of that. How by taking the food which is offered to Krishna, God, then automatically, and our chanting the holy name, engaging in the service of the Lord, then automatically our everything, all our nine holes, all our senses, all our mind, everything will be enlivened, and we will become complete body, mind, intelligence, sense, and gross, subtle, everything will become spiritualized. So that is what Sarvahanam Achyuteja. Pranapa Yatendriyanam, all the Indriyas. So that's why it's called Rishikesa, that's why it's called Achyuta. So there is a beautiful song, many songs are there. Achyuta Kesava. Is that Achyuta Kesava, Govinda Gopala Hari. हे गोविंद हे गोपाल केशव माधव दीन दयाल अच्युत केशव श्रीधर माधव गोविंद गोपाल हरि हे गोविंद हे गोपाल केशव माधव दीन दयाल अच्युत केशव श्रीधर माधव गोविंद गोपाल हरि हे गोविंद हे गोपाल केशव माधव दीन दयाल. Beautiful song. Or the anything with the Lord's holy names. So is really wonderful. So that's why Kirtan always brings our senses or enlightens our senses. Naturally, we'll go into right mood, and completely from material, material becomes spiritual as soon as we start hearing kirtan. That's why we ask chant before starting the class, before doing anything. And the day, start the day with chanting of the holy name. So that's why, because that way, our whole day, our perspective, our thought process, everything can change. In this way, we will stop here because I have to run to temple for